This is Weather in Depth, and we are going to take a look at what is happening across southern Ontario right now. We do have a warning in place. It includes Windsor, Leamington, Chatham, Kent, London. It's been in place for a little while longer for the Sarnia, Watford area, as well as Strathroy. So why don't we get into it? Southern Ontario through the south and west, Chris. These are storms that are not really, sliding through so much as they're coming on the heels of one another. Correct?
Yeah. It's starting now to move a little bit more. So I think that flooding, if there was any flash flooding threat around the 402, starting to abate as the storms are making a little bit more of a move now, lining up almost parallel with the 401 just to the west of it. Now, Sarnia, out of the worst of it, there's nothing big to come anymore. We're going to focus on Windsor right here, London in just a second. Chatham, you have to watch out in a second. Let's see, Rodney, Dutton, West Lorne, these storms are approaching. And this type of configuration here, where the storms are kind of lining out and almost taking a bit of a bow shape here, that's often a sign of strong winds. These winds may be damaging. Just had reports of some power outages on the west side of Windsor, down by the Ambassador Bridge, down by the U of Windsor itself. This is a pretty mean line coming through. It is pouring in the west end and probably through much of Windsor right now. And if you're in Amherstburg, right down here, there's a pretty nasty cell in Michigan that has signs of rotation. So we're not saying there's going to be a tornado, but we are telling you that there's at least some pretty severe weather there, and these storms are twisting a little bit as well. So they're moving in from the west very quickly. Potential of some wind damage with these storms moving off towards the east. Farther towards the north, London, you've got some storms, the worst of them through the city and just to the south and west. So it appears maybe from Oxford Street and south is where the worst of this is, down through Lambeth as well. As you move through Arva, lesser precipitation, a lot of rain here, but the heaviest storms now working through, so eventually St. Thomas, Talbotville, watch for this threat. Could be some damaging winds as these cells move through. And
some of the storms in Michigan have had really large hail with them as well, so that's a potential threat for southern Ontario, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think these storms likely not as much of a hail threat because they're not as on their own, but still some hail and certainly the strong winds with this. So big stuff here. Let's get you up to date on Rita quickly. Still a Category 4 hurricane moving towards the west-northwest.
Yeah, big stuff here as well. So it's headed toward the Texas coast still. It's actually moving west-northwest now. And it is, again, a Category 4 storm, but still, this is a potentially destructive storm. And people in most of Galveston, actually, they say it's like a ghost town now. Most people have left. And even lineup still out of Houston, in some cases, it's taking 9, 10, 12 hours to get through 200 kilometers of length. So pretty amazing.
Incredible shot here of what the eye is like right now. Very symmetric looking eye. We'll focus more on this in the next half hour. I want to get to a couple more products that we have for you. New Orleans, already some outer bands from this storm have been working through locally heavy rain. And the problem is with this track, it still looks to be Texas, but it's shifted a little bit farther eastwards, somewhere on the upper Texas coast towards western Louisiana landfall. But this is an expanding storm, and there's going to be a lot of damage as this comes towards the coast. Coming towards it tomorrow, landfall Saturday, but conditions going downhill rapidly through the day on Friday.
The climate is changing at a much greater speed than ever before, and the future looks warm. One reason is natural forces such as volcanic eruptions, changes in the sun's intensity, or deep ocean currents. But scientists believe human activities are contributing to most of the warming observed in the past few years, and that's through the release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
There's another reason, though, that is often ignored, and that is the way in which we change the surface of the Earth.
Scientists say we can't change what we've done so far, but maybe we can slow down the process by changing our ways. Also, we have to learn to deal with the upcoming changes.
Those that better prepare for climate change will in fact be better off. And so, yes, we're facing a warmer future and perhaps maybe more extreme future in terms of the weather. And the sooner we realize that and prepare for it, the better off we'll be.
Visit theweathernetwork.com for a complete listing of features and times.